Hello dear champions, welcome to the game of the day. In this video we are covering Abu Dhabi Chess Festival round 7 game among Samant Aditya's white against Kuybokarov Temur. We're going to see an interesting fight and an importance of a little mistake, how big it can be in real. Take a look at the board. White is pawn down, queen on e4 is a strong piece attacking on the e5 pawn. Question here is going to following, how to defend this pawn. Queen e7, queen f6 is impossible. Queen defends the rook on e8, we are gonna capture it. So it looks like black is having few options. Bishop to d6 and pawn on f6. In conditions when one is very much acceptable, the other one is a huge mistake. Let me quickly mention that castling short is not working because of queen h7. So if you thought like black's gonna give up a pawn, but try to gain the activity. So there are two options available. You can pause the video and try to figure it out which is going to be your choice. Turns out that bishop d6 is a very logical move, defending the pawn. Well, bishop is not on the diagonal anymore, but it's allowing the f4 move, so seems a little risky. However, there is concrete option of playing pawn to f5, queen d5, e4 with a very complicated situation. Black is pawn up, some weakened diagonals. However, at least here, pay attention. Pawn on e4 is a very strong passed pawn, bishop on c1 is blocked by the pawn on f4. In the game, black decided to go for pawn f6. Sounds fine, yeah? Defending the pawn, thinking about castle in future, whenever they nullify the threat. However, f6 is weakening up the diagonal. Oh my god, it's a very big price. Now white is going to put the queen on d5 with the tempo. This is not the only move. Let me say, if you thought about bishop b3 to control the diagonal, or even going king h1 and thinking about f4, it's doable. Okay, white went queen d5 with the tempo. So bishop b6 and bishop b3. Take a look. Bishop plus queen are creating a mating threat on f7. Big downside of f6 move. They are weakening the squares, the light square diagonal. In conditions when black king didn't castle yet, it could be very, very dangerous. Right now, what to play as black? They cannot move the queen. Queen e7, we take it on a8. All the time it's hanging. Otherwise, this is a threat. Turns out that the only defensive move here is rook f8. But come on, king is staying in the center and it's going to be very difficult to play further. Since the goal is achieved and black already made a move with the rook, they are losing ability for a short castle. I really like white's next move. They continued queen e4 going back. There were some active moves available, like rook d1, maybe developing the bishop. However, they just attack. Pawn is hanging, what to do? No way to play f5 again, this is hanging on e5. If black continues pawn g6, we have a nice move here. The dark squares now are getting weakened as well. We go bishop h6 with the tempo. After rook h8, white has a pleasant choice. Go bishop g7, win the material, or even go queen d5 and try to checkmate. So this doesn't work. After queen e4 in the game, if black is playing something like h5, well, it's just a disaster. We're giving a check on g6, capturing the g7 pawn. Doesn't work again. There are not too many moves available. If here they go back rook to h8, it's already very bad. They will never castle short. White can continue something like rook d1, increasing the pressure. There is a pin here. Bishop e6 is coming as a threat, so super tough defense. Queen e4 is forcing black to play something like c6. They have a tricky plan. Now capturing on h7 could be not the best. What's the reason? After queen takes, black is suddenly on time to play. Queen e7 and going for a long side castle. Yes, of course, it's not the safest king, pawns are a little bit advanced. However, no reason to be in a rush. I really like look net decision of white, not capturing the h7, but playing here a4 first. In advance, trying to open up some files, position on the queen side. It's important to activate your heavy pieces. We even have an interesting course, speedbot adventures, and talking about different techniques how to use the open lines for them. At the moment, black's defense is really difficult and they try to go rook b8. So this means no more long castle. We are gonna get greedy. Capturing the pawn is already good, because now queen e7 is not a threat, long castle isn't available. White here captures on b5, pawn takes. Of course here white has a big advantage. Let's quickly evaluate. Our king is safe, opponent 1 is in the middle, no way to castle short and long. We have some open files, our pieces are a little more active, the bishop, the queen. However, we have some pieces out of the game. Rook on f1 in the future can easily go to d1. But since the a file is opened as well, maybe we can use this rook differently. So the question is how to be with the bishop. There are not too many good squares available. Pause the video and for a second, try to make your decision. I know you found it. This bishop cannot go to f4, g5 or h6. d2 is too passive. Bishop on b6 is very strong. Attacks on this diagonal and defends the square on a7, so no rook a7 is available. Well, we go bishop e3. If you can tell that bishop takes, pawn takes is weakening the structure, yeah, that's correct. However, our benefits are way bigger. Opening the position, opening the squares for our rooks is way more important. In the game after bishop e3, black didn't even capture, they played king to d8. So what happens now? Bishop takes b6, rook takes. Let me mention that there are too many moves available. At this moment, going rook d1 was a good alternative, but probably white didn't choose it because of rook b7. Suddenly this rook defends a little. For this reason, at this moment after rook b6, white continued rook a7, very strong pressuring move. Now the threat is to go rook d1 and destroy the bishop on d7. So to defend, black continues king to c8. Now if we go rook d1, again rook b7 is possible. At this moment, of course, white has a big advantage no matter what they play, but I like it so much the decision of the white. I'm gonna give you a little hint. Can you see that queen on h7 is out of the game? Okay, it captured the pawn, but already there is no king on the king side, no reasons to stay there. How to bring the queen back into the game. Pause the video and make your decision. Can you see the long maneuver? Queen goes to b1 with the idea. If now black goes rook b7, we continue queen a2, supporting our rook. If now black captures, queen takes. This is one of the important attacking concepts which I'm talking about in Attack Like a Viking course. Queen is the strongest attacking piece. It should be next to opponent king. Very often when this piece is joining the attack, it's exponentially becoming stronger. So after a queen b1 move, black didn't go for rook b7. Position is very difficult. Black continued queen c5, but it doesn't change our plans. We still go queen to a2. Already, we'll have a lot of threats against the king. Here black continued rook to d8, hoping to defend the bishop. Let me tell you that many moves are winning here for white, giving some checks, bringing the rook to a1. White player decided to go for rook d1, which is also good, pressuring on the bishop. And now, after rook b7, white is very close to win the material. It happens rook a8 check. King c7, rook takes and king takes. Now white's winning a piece in 2 moves. If you watch the Tactic Ninja, you will be familiar with this. Otherwise, pause the video and figure it out. The thing is now we give a check. And now rook is hanging. Bishop c8 isn't possible because of the pin. So the only move is to go king c7. However, this piece is overloaded. It defends on b7 and d7 at the same time. White continued rook d7 check. And black player resigned. The reason is, after king takes and queen takes b7, white staying with a clear extra piece advantage, which is of course more than enough to win the game. How was it? Can you imagine a simple move like f6? A little one, yes? Spoils the game. Turns out this was the decisive mistake. Weakened everything. The lines, the diagonals. And black, after all, couldn't defend. But I'm gonna be honest, white players showed a really good technique. I would like one more time to specify the move of a4. Instead of capturing pawn immediately, white is thinking what are going to be the next actions of opponent. So, take some tricks and use them in your games. I hope you will win a beautiful game, slowly using the advantage of the weak squares around the opponent's king. Okay, thank you for watching. Gem Gabuzan was here with you, and we're going to meet in our next videos. Bye bye.